Adam Schenk, how you doing, buddy? Welcome to the Road to French Lick. We're glad to finally get you on.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me on.
How's it going out there? You were a longtime friend of the program, but of the facility as well. We're happy to call you a partner in our endeavors at French Lick, and we're very excited for you to be participating in the PGA Tour. But what we want to touch about is sort of like your journey and how you got to where you're at today, and then touching on some of your experiences on the Korn Ferry Tour. But let us know how you're doing right now.
Hanging in there right now. Golf game's trending. I was playing really nicely about a month ago, and then just kind of the last 2 or 3 weeks haven't been quite as good, but my swings got a little hooky. So I noticed when I flew back, we were in Indiana for a couple weeks. We had our second son, Connor. He's just over 4 weeks old, so he's doing awesome.
Congratulations.
Court's great. Thank you.
I have a
But when
son, Connor, as well.
nice. That's what we named it after.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
But came back down to Florida and was just absolutely hooking everything. So I'm slowly getting out of that. But players this week, major disappointment. Love the golf course. Conditions could have been better, but just didn't quite have my best stuff. Going to get to Tampa tonight and then do some practice tomorrow. I think we're going to play the Pram on Wednesday and then go play somewhere else for 18. So should have a couple of good days to get in some work. And then I've played well here a couple of years ago, finished second. So have some good vibes going into this tournament. So we'll get a couple good days of work in and see where it puts us.
Perfect.
When you feel close to where you want to be, what's the level of frustration of feeling close versus almost feeling way far away from it?
It's kind of it's an interesting situation. There's sometimes I almost enjoy the struggle a little bit because when I've worked with Dr. Rob Bell, sports psychologist, and talked to a couple other sports psychologists before, and it's you learn so much more through hard times than good times. I would say, I guess you could say winning, but I haven't done that on the PGA Tour ever, so I wouldn't know what that feels like. Hopefully, we accomplish that this year. I played my best tournament probably ever in Hawaii this year. Didn't have a ton of good things happen, meaning a couple good breaks, lies in the rough, or you make a couple 30, 40 footers, chip in, get an up and down that you shouldn't. So just need to sharpen up a few things. Game's feeling better, pretty bad the last couple of weeks, but when you start to see the light at the end of the tunnel, that's when you can, start to complete your circle, as I call it. And I feel like going into players, I had about 50% of it completed, and which means I hit about 95% good golf shots, but the 5% that's bad is way too bad. I hit two of the biggest duck hooks you've ever seen in your life. Like, they should revoke my PGA Tour card for those shots. But hopefully we get a little work in and then figure it out before Thursday.
Now,
how did that play out for you over the course of a Korn Ferry Tour season, and how do guys, yourself or other people maybe you talk to who've gone through that experience, how do you kind of keep it all together over the course of the ups and downs of a year, knowing you might be close, you might be far away, and sometimes you might be almost unstoppable over the course of 25 tournaments?
Yeah, that's a great question, a great point. I think that's an overlooked factor in how the best players in the world are better at that than everyone else. It's such a long season, as you mentioned. Everyone's going to have ebbs and flows, great weeks, bad weeks, great months, bad months, and you just try and limit that. And there's so many golfers in this world that could play on the PGA Tour, but I think what separates people that don't play on the PGA Tour to people that play on the PGA Tour, and then the people that really excel on the PGA Tour, is when you get that little bit off, how can you get back to that middle point where you can still compete with, your B game or C game and make a cut and finish 25th, as opposed to it gets off the rails, you stay off the rails, and then it's not good for a long time and you kind of start to spiral out of control. And that's really easy to do out here. You can start tinkering with equipment, instructors, kind of lose your way a little bit. So you see it happen all the time. It eventually happens to everybody a little bit, but I talk about it like getting in the weeds. When you try and get better at golf, that's really hard because you change one thing and it changes something else. So I think sometimes you have to get a little bit worse at golf before you get better. But when you go in the weeds and you can't see where you're going anymore, then you backtrack instead of keep going down that bad path for a month. I think that's, something I'm generally very good at. But when you're trying to get better at golf, as I mentioned, it's really tricky. So you have to be able to get back to your straight and narrow, which makes you being able to make cuts and play on the PGA Tour, because everyone's pretty damn good that gets to the PGA Tour. It's just remembering that you're pretty damn good and getting back to your old ways.
When you were on the Korn Ferry Tour and you found yourself in the weeds and then you pulled yourself out and then you got your tour card, how big of an adjustment is it going from the Korn Ferry Tour to the PGA Tour?
It's huge. I mean, the players in the Korn Ferry Tour are outstanding players. I don't know. You can get into the argument it's the second best tour in the world. I probably think it is. Obviously, there's a ton of great players in Europe. There's just a ton of great players everywhere. And then with them reducing like the full PGA Tour cards to 100 this year instead of 125, there's a lot more people playing more events this year. I don't want to say every event they get into, they're playing, but guys are playing more now than they ever have. So the money's more, which anytime there's money, that brings competition. So it's never been a more competitive landscape in professional golf, and especially with the PGA Tour. And that's not even to mention all the live guys that are very capable of still playing on the PGA Tour and being some of the best players in the world. But it's coming out here and competing against guys. I guess I could use myself as an example. I've played the PGA Tour courses, 7 or 8 times now. When you're coming off the Korn Ferry, you don't know the course, you don't know where to stay, the locker room, where the range is at. And it sounds small, but all that is a new adjustment every week. So the first year on tour is very difficult. And if you can keep your car, I don't know what the rate is. I'd be interested to see the rate of people that keep their PGA Tour cards over the last 20 years and what that percentage looks like. I did not. Wasn't even close, really. So it's an impressive feat if you're able to do that your first year, because there are so many distractions. It's so different. The lights are brighter. There's a lot more, opportunity for gain and opportunity for loss. So as we mentioned, I think players sometimes get in the weeds, but if they have a couple people in their corner that keep them on the straight and narrow, some good mentors, I think that is invaluable.
Who are some of the people who have been mentors in your career?
So Rob Bradley, he's the coach at South Carolina now. It sounds weird to say. He was at Purdue for 10 or 11 or 12 years, but he came in my senior year and he really helped me and just helped me understand my golf swing and, shots that I'm going to struggle with, how to get better, shots that I probably should never try to hit in competition. They're okay to practice, but there's some shots you're just, due to characteristics in your swing or flaws, that you're just not going to ever be great at. So he helped me determine some of those things, and basically when you get in some situations, how to make par. But Charlie Hoffman's been really nice to me. He's beat me out of more money than I beat him out of on the putting green, unfortunately. Kind of makes me a little sad to say that. Webb Simpson's been great. Talked to Brandt Snedeker about putting a significant amount. He's been awesome, but I've been lucky to have those guys help me and take me under their wing a little bit. And Jonas Blix, we played golf for 2 or 3 years, every practice round, Tuesday, 9 or 18 holes, little money game, every Tuesday, book it, doesn't matter what's going on, rain or shine, we were playing. And he really helped me, adjust to the PGA Tour faster.
Now, as the season goes along, what are your goals for the rest of the way? I mean, obviously trying to get in that top 70, trying to get in the playoffs, then 50 and 30. When do you kind of start dialing in on what you need to do and start really being more conscious of those goals for the end of the season?
So I guess that starts in the off season, and I was pretty pissed off last off season. I really struggled mightily during the last half of last year. Got off to a pretty nice start. The year before, got a lot better at golf, had a lot of things go my way, caught a lot of breaks, even at the Valspar. I think the year I finished 9th in the FedEx Cup. I mean, I made a 70-footer on Sunday, a 24-footer for par on 17, a 6-footer downhill slider on par for on 18 to finish solo second, and Spieth missed like a 3.5-footer for me to finish solo second, and another guy bogeyed the hole as well, or else I would have been a 3-way tie for second. So I just had a lot of fortunate things happen my way. So it was a little bit of maybe like a sheep in wolf's clothing in a sense. So I was probably outkicked my coverage a little bit, but last year, second half really struggled. Thought I was getting better, but just really didn't have the results to show it, which that's the frustrating part in golf, is when because you're working hard, it doesn't really mean you're going to get better at golf. You have to be working on the right things. There has to be a little bit of luck and timing involved. And if you're working on the right things and working hard, then getting better is inevitable if you can stay patient. So you don't stay patient. You keep making those one or two little mistakes that are a bogey and a double per tournament or every other tournament. And it's just really hard to compete out here when you're spotting the field, 2 to 3 to 4 shots. And that's what I was doing a little bit at the end of last year, just because the one or two swings that I would make would be, hey, Brett, I need another ball for my provisional. So that was, something that was holding me back. In this offseason, I put in a lot of work and started off the season pretty nice at Sony. We finished sixth and a couple other top 25. So was trending nicely, and then kind of got off a little bit, but I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I know what I need to do, and that's a big portion of it. Is when you're lost and you don't know what to do. That's when, if there ever was a time to worry, that's the time to worry. One bad month turns into two. Oh shit! Excuse my language. There's only 2 months left in the season. I'm 140 on the FedEx Cup. That's when the alarm bells start to go off for a lot of people. But I think you made a really good point. Like, if you're struggling, the time to freak out is now. Fix it. Identify what's wrong. That way it's not lingering. It's not persisting. If you have a problem and you're not certain how to solve it, then, seek some help from a coach, an old coach, college coach, whoever it may be, and get back on the right track. And I think that's where a lot of people get off, is they are working hard. They really care. They're putting in the time, but they're not working on the right things. And that's the weird thing about golf, is you can work as hard as you want, but until you get it, until you understand what you need to do in your swing slightly differently to be successful, you probably won't be. So that's a tricky blind to toe.
Well, Adam, we really appreciate your time. We wish you the best of luck. We're huge fans, not only of you and your game, but all your pals that are out there as well. We need a prediction from you. It is March Madness, and we do have the Purdue Boilermakers coming in there. What do you think about the NCAAs, baby? What do you think?
That's a great question. I haven't looked at the brackets yet. I saw 2 predictions. I saw Duke was in the final game with the 2 guys that I watched before we were putting our AJ, our oldest son, to bed last night. They both had Florida winning. I couldn't even tell you who the 1 seeds are. Florida, Duke, but I think that's a good question.
St.
I haven't
John's?
watched as much college basketball as I have this year. I think Purdue's going to do better than advertised. It seems like a lot of times before they've been peaking going like into the tournament, and then have had some, not bad losses, but there's every team in the NCAA tournament's capable of upsetting anyone. So I think they're going to make the Elite Eight this year. IU got snubbed. That sucks. A lot of people, IU fans, Purdue fans, I can't stand the team. Of course, I'm always rooting for Purdue if they're playing IU, but I still want to see IU do well. Even when Purdue's not doing well, as in football, IU had a great year. I think that makes Purdue pissed off in a sense, and it makes them elevate their level in a sense. So I think Duke's gonna have. I think they're gonna be in the title game. I think if I was putting money on it, which I certainly will and do every March, like a lot of people, not successfully, but I probably have Duke winning, which is such a boring take. It's not exciting. So I'll have to get back to you. Maybe we can do another one of these in a couple of weeks, and
Done deal, dude.
And I'll have some more predictions in.
All right, Adam Schenk, we appreciate you, man. Best of luck out there. Kick some ass, take some names, and we'll see you hoisting a trophy real soon here.
I like that. We're going to get 2 this year. I think that's getting 2 for the end of the year. So that's our goal. Thank you guys for having me on.
Congratulations with Connor.
Yes,
little baby boy.
You.
That's huge.
Thank you.
And that's a whole nother victory lap you got to take there. But we're pulling for you, and we wish you the best of luck, dude.
Thank you guys very much. Talk to you soon.